second fool, known as Hanli in the village, woke up under the mud and thatch roof, his body wrapped in a yellowed and aged quilt. Beside him, his brother Hanju slept soundly, occasionally emitting snores. The nearby earth wall, full of cracks from time, separated him from the annoying sounds of his mother and the steady breath of his father, who enjoyed his pipe. Known as Second Fool due to a namesake in the village, Hanli, despite his nickname, was recognized as the smartest among the children. However, he carried the stigma of the nickname, given in exchange for 2 pieces of cornbread offered to Elder Zhang on the day of his birth. While dreaming of a world beyond the village, he knew his destiny was intertwined with the mountains and his friends, where he sought firewood. Hanli, with a discreet appearance and tan skin, matured early in his heart, wishing to explore the outside world. His family, consisting of 7 members, faced financial difficulties, but he dreamed of bringing red fruits to his sister as he climbed the mountains. On a hot day, returning from the mountain with firewood and fruits, Hanli discovered that his destiny was about to change. His third uncle, a distinguished guest, had arrived, a respected member of the 7 Profound Gates sect. Hanli, though young, was the right age to participate in the sect's recruitment test. The third uncle, presenting advantages and opportunities, convinced Hanli's father to allow his participation in the test, promising benefits such as martial arts training and a monthly income. Hanli, excited about the prospect of a different life, accepted. After leaving silver and promises, the third uncle departed with Hanli towards the city. The farewell left Hanli emotionally shaken, despite his early maturity. The road ahead was not just a physical journey but also a journey towards immortality and a unique cultivation path he had never imagined. The 10-year-old boy, marked by hope and determination, embarked on an unknown journey, leaving behind the simplicity of the village and embracing a destiny that would transcend the boundaries of the ordinary. This is a small town called Qingmyo City, known by the locals of the nearby ravines as Qingmyo City or Qingmyo Town. The town, although not large, has a main street, Qingmyo Street, extending from east to west, and a single inn, Qingmyo Inn, located at the western end of the town. Zhang Er, after more than 10 years, still hears in his mind the constant call of the city. The narrative begins with a horse-drawn carriage arriving in the town, carrying a fat man named Fatty Han and a teenager named Hanli, Fatty Han's nephew. Zhuanxiang Restaurant, old and with a peculiar taste, is the place they head to. Fatty Han, the owner of the restaurant, is greeted by regular customers, and a playful remark arises about the teenager Hanli resembling Fatty Han. Fatty Han clarifies that Hanli is his nephew. Hanli, exhausted from a 3-day journey, is guided by Fatty Han to a courtyard at the back of the restaurant to rest. While Hanli takes a nap, the third uncle, nicknamed Fatty Han, attends to the regular customers. He warns Hanli not to leave the courtyard due to the commotion in the town. In the evening, Hanli receives food and, in a dialogue with his third uncle, reveals his well-behaved and seemingly unassuming demeanor. On the third day, a black carriage with a mysterious flag stops in front of the restaurant. The locals recognize that the 7 Deep Gates, one of the main sects in the region, is present in the town. Wang Hufa, the representative of this sect, arrives to recruit Hanli as part of the defense reinforcement due to instabilities on the road. Fatty Han introduces Hanli as his nephew, wishing for him to be taken care of during the journey. Wang Hufa, initially impatient, relaxes upon receiving a money pouch from Fatty Han. They depart, moving forward into the night. The unpleasant smell inside the car was inevitable. It's no surprise that almost 30 children were cramped in it, meant to accommodate only a dozen passengers. Even though the children were considerably smaller than the adults, the car remained congested. With cunning, Hanli adjusted his slender body in the corner of the vehicle, casting furtive glances at the other children present. The children boarding for the entrance exam clearly divided into 3 groups, considering their clothing and appearances. The first group was led by a young man in the center of the carriage, surrounded by most of the other children. This was Wu Yan, 13 years old, the oldest among them. Although his age exceeded the established limit, his connection with an influential member of Kixwanmen ensured the validity of his participation. Wu Yan belonged to an affluent family, owners of a martial arts academy, making him not only rich but also skilled in martial arts since childhood. Despite not being exceptionally intelligent, he could easily handle children like Han Li, lacking martial experience. Naturally, people like Wu Yan, wealthy and influential, naturally became the big brothers to most children in the vehicle. The second group consisted of children surrounding Wu Yan, coming from various backgrounds, involving trade, manual labor, among others. Despite the differences, they shared the ability to appreciate beauty and seek profit opportunities, learned from the adults in their families. They surrounded Wu Yan, calling him Master Wu on the left and Big Brother Wu on the right, a title he readily accepted. The third group included children like Han Li, originating from remote and impoverished villages, dependent on nature to survive. They were few, perhaps 5 or 6, mostly shy and observant, in stark contrast to the noisy part of the group. The carriage departed from Qingniu and headed west, stopping at various places to pick up more children. After 5 days of travel, it reached Saixia Mountain, the headquarters of Kixwenmen. The children disembarked, marveling at the sunset landscape on the mountain. Guardian Wang urged them to wake up and move forward. Originally called Luofeng Mountain, legend had it that a 5-colored phoenix had fallen there, transforming into the mountain. Now known as Saixia Mountain, it was the exclusive property of Kixwenmen. The mountain was vast, with a mountain range of over 16 kilometers and more than a dozen dangerous peaks. That Sunset Peak was the most ominous, with only one path from the base to the top, where Kixwenmen's main hall was located. 13 checkpoints marked the way, ensuring safety. As Han Li looked around, the line abruptly stopped, and a bold voice broke the silence. It was Hall Master Yu, questioning Wang Hufa's delay. After some formalities, the children were directed to rest at Qinkayuan. The next morning, Wang Hufa led the children to a bamboo slope at the base of the mountain, where Hall Master Yu and other youths were already waiting. Their fate would be decided in this crucial place, a location that would determine their futures. As Han Li climbed the stone steps of the mountain, he felt the tension in the air. In front of the children, Division Chief Yu shouted with imposing authority, "Everyone, listen carefully. Inside the bamboo forest, there's a small path you'll follow, eventually reaching the bone-refining cliff of the Seven Mysteries sect. The first section of the path will be the bamboo forest. The second section will be a rocky slope. The last section will be the cliff. Only those who manage to climb the bone-refining cliff by noon will become disciples of our Seven Mysteries sect. If you finish after noon, though you won't become an inner disciple, you can still become a non-official disciple, provided your performance demonstrates notable prowess." Among the present children, Han Li didn't fully grasp the meaning of becoming a non-official disciple. He was solely focused on the immediate task, climbing the cliff. Looking ahead, he saw a steep slope with bamboo shoots that seemed to offer a seemingly less challenging path. Determined not to fall behind, Han Li observed the other children around him, feeling the tension in the air enveloping all competitors. Division Chief Yu, after casting a glance at the rising sun, reassured the youngsters, "Okay, it's almost time, get ready to set off. Don't be afraid, your seniors will be protecting you from behind in case of any danger." Han Li, in turn, looked at the older disciples, admiring them. He thought to himself about the possibility of joining this group and donning the attire of an inner disciple if he successfully completed the task. As the race began, the children scattered through the bamboo forest. Han Li, realizing he was falling behind, sped up to catch the others. Soon, he found himself climbing the rocky slope, using bamboo shoots for support. Behind him, a senior disciple silently followed. The difficulty increased as Han Li progressed. Bamboo shoots became scarce, forcing him to pull them to propel his advances. Exhausted, he finally found a spot to rest, watching the slender senior who remained impassive. Continuing his journey, the rocky slope proved challenging, and Han Li chose to advance more safely, crawling on the ground. As he neared the end of the bamboo forest, the landscape transformed into a vast expanse of rugged terrain, with a gigantic rocky mountain ahead. Climbing the mountain required skill and endurance. Han Li, already tired, chose to climb using his hands to avoid injuries. However, his clothes and body did not escape unscathed, getting torn and wounded. Reaching the base of the bone-refining cliff, Han Li saw the leaders already climbing. Determined to catch up, he ignored the pain and cuts. However, time was slipping away, and the distance between him and the leaders persisted. Upon reaching the bone-refining cliff, Han Li faced a final challenge. Exhausted, he grabbed a rope to climb, but his weakened strength made every move arduous. While others reached the top, Han Li struggled to continue. Wu Yan, in the lead, had already reached the summit. Looking back, he gestured negatively to the slower competitors, including Han Li. This ignited the flame of anger in Han Li, who, despite intense pain, grabbed the rope, determined to complete the challenge. An hour from the time limit, Han Li managed to climb to the first knot, but his strength was nearly depleted. Sitting on the knot, he saw other competitors giving up due to exhaustion. Knowing he wouldn't make it before noon, he decided to stay where he was, reflecting on the underestimated difficulty of the test. However, his determination remained strong, fueled by the memory of his family and the refusal to give in. After some time, Han Li's waist tightened, and his body became lighter. It rose automatically. He turned his head and saw his brother holding onto the rope, ascending quickly. The sun was high, the sky in the middle. The journey to the top of the cliff had failed for Han Li, leaving him a little sad. He felt desperate, questioning why he still lagged behind others. Upon reaching the top, Han Li saw 6 children resting. Wu Yan was talking to an old man, while Wang Hufa stood beside them. Hall Master Yu announced that 7 had passed, 6 became inner disciples, while Wu Yan was sent to learn special skills. Zhang Tai and Han Li, though not reaching the top in time, had excellent performances. They would be instructed in the school and evaluated after 6 months. If they failed, they would be sent as outer disciples. Han Li looked at Zhang Tai and, along with others, descended the cliff. The last remaining boy was sent home. Wang Hufa conducted the process. Zhang Jun, another youth, guided Han Li and others to report to Vice Chief Gu and Professor Li. Han Li noticed that Wu Yan was still talking to the old man in a blue robe. Approaching, he overheard that Wu Yan was a central disciple sent to Kijutang. Zhang Jun suggested it was due to an influential relative. Han Li realized that Wu Yan had not reached Kijutang solely because of his talent but due to the support of a relative. Walking, Zhang Jun mentioned that speaking ill of the Vice Master could have consequences. Han Li understood that Wu Yan hadn't reached Kijutang due to an influential cousin. 2 elders, Zhang Jun and another, thoughtfully stood at the door and led Han Li and others. Passing through a dense forest, an older man appeared coughing. Zhang Jun and the other bowed respectfully. The elder, called Dr. Mo, requested 2 disciples. Han Li and Zhang Tai were chosen to learn medical skills. The veterans accepted without objections. Dr. Mo led the 2 through a forest to a green valley. Han Li saw a field of herbs and houses. Dr. Mo indicated that this would be their home. At night, they would gather for an important discussion. Exhausted, Han Li fell asleep, considering himself a half-disciple of the profound Clan 7.